Know this. Introducing the original blood clot podcast, not players. Soothing Semantics. Special dedication all the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT Semantics. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing Semantics. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man. Soothing Semantics.
On another episode of Soothing Semantics, I'm your host, Raphael Pinsky, and today we have a very, very fun human being, very exciting, bubbly, and animated person.
Huh?
My former real estate coach, still, yeah,
Ethan,
still a mentor of sorts.
Ethan, go away. Ethan, go. Sit. Baby mama.
That's Ethan, her son. Like mother, like son.
Oh. Okay,
Shika, welcome.
Thank you, Rafi, for having me.
Absolutely. You'll see it after. I'll show it to you.
Shh.
Okay. He wants to go to Target. So, peoples, I started with Keller Williams about 8-9 months ago, and Shika was the coach at the time. She has helped me tremendously, just understanding the business and working, dealing with some paperwork, and really just helping to make things easier for a new realtor. So I always appreciated it, and I thank you for that. Really, you helped me tremendously.
You're my brother from another.
That's it. It's just you had the patience, and that was good. And I think I didn't require that much patience, but then again, I don't know, did I?
What? It's all good. Everybody have their way of learning. Everybody have a different learning. So, sometimes I have a curve. Yeah, I have a learning curve. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I have to read something like 3 times, 4 times, maybe 5 times.
That was to a lot of people. But so I appreciate that. And now that I'm a little bit further in, and I haven't been on the coaching, kind of been. Now I've had to, and I think I've been good on my own as it is because I wasn't on a team.
I'm proud of you, actually. You're doing really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm a proud mama.
Oh.
Proud sister from another.
So sister and mother. That's kind of throwing me off right now.
It depends on what happens during those questions or that conversation I have with you. If you get on my nerve that moment, I'm going to be the mom. Okay. And then if we cool, I'll be the sister.
Fine.
Okay?
Fine.
I'll change the roles accordingly.
Sort of makes sense. I didn't, for whoever is in real estate or is familiar with real estate as an agent, you can either be on a team or you can be a single agent. So there were people who recommended I join a team. I felt that I would be good on my own as long as I had the right mentors and people to talk to who were more experienced, and I don't have that issue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proactive.
And I encouraged that. I did remember. I said,
lead
based on your personality, I was like, I don't think you need to be on a team.
Right. It was very true. Because I naturally do that. I don't kind of sit by myself. I always befriend people and get as much as I can, ask questions. I'm very proactive. If I see that I really can't figure something out, then I'll go and talk to someone who's more experienced.
Right,
and then we become friendly, and then I try to help them in any way I can. The more experience I have, the more of an ability I have to do that. Mm-hmm. So...
And being on a team it could be there's something for everyone. You're an individual agent, you learn independently. If you need to be on a team to be more in structure, you join a team. There's nothing wrong with one way or the other. It's just what will fit for that person, and some people will go in needing the structure, learn what they need to learn, and then they go back out on their own. It all depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, for sure. I just can't. I can't deal with the needing to do this and that time. Meaning, you have to have some sort of structure regardless of whether you're on a team or not. Mm-hmm. You can't just kind of throw everything in the air and hope it hits.
Why?
I know that's what you do, but that's not. That doesn't.
I'm
work.
good at it. I'm like the octopus. I'm like catching shit like this. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you're a mom, you're a leader, you're an employee, you're a manager, you're a baby mama, you're a wife, you're a cousin, sister, whatever it is. You learn how to cook, clean, vacuum, carry the baby, feed the baby, breastfeed.
Sure you don't want to run for president?
Yeah, I think I should.
Yeah.
I think I
I'm playing the
should.
game. Listen to you.
You'll be my sidekick.
I'm you know what? Vice president?
I think we'll make a good team. Shoot.
But wait, but now by the brother or the son?
At that moment, you just gonna be on the team aside.
I have the little car.
Yeah, you.
They'll attach like a little. So like you'll have your big Escalade. You know how they.
No,
or
your
that
role
limo?
is just a sidekick. Because if I have to kick you to the curb, I just have to kick you to the curb. But if you're family, I can't kick you to the curb. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Deal. All right, I'm running. That's it, guys. Vote for me in 2025.
Vote for Shika.
Well, 20.
Yeah.
It could be. Depends on what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting 8-9 months at this point. Really loving it. It has its ups and downs for sure, but so far it really suits me, which is great.
It's a jungle out there. Real estate is a jungle. And every time when I recruit, I would say, listen, you're new to this. It is a jungle. The good thing about a jungle, there's always a path somewhere where you end up finding where you need to be. So you'll start off and you're like, oh my goodness, where do I go? What direction? What do I want to do? Real estate, residential, commercial, rentals. What do I want to do it myself? As you start to learn and navigate through the process and the transactions and you become, good at something, then you start to find your way through the jungle. That's what I consider it.
Well, now that you mentioned rentals, I do find, I know somebody who does rentals primarily, and he doesn't want to. So I just kind of wanted to go into that because it's interesting. It's very easy to get sucked into rentals because they're easier to come by. People feel like they're less strenuous, which actually isn't always the case because you're making so much less money for your time. And you can't scale a business on rentals unless you're dealing with luxury rentals every single time. Unless they have to be a substantial amount for that to be worth it, and it's not something I would want to do anyhow because I don't think it teaches you enough.
Well, when you focus on rentals, I look at it like the subway. Like, for example, when they lowered their prices and they had the Monday through Friday menu that they sold for less, and it became more of a volume than the price, right? So they lowered the price, but it drew more traffic. More people came in to purchase because that's what their focus was, to grow the volume. So it really depends. There's realtors that stand by rentals only, and they close maybe 20 to 30 transactions a month. Just think about it. Here in Southeast Florida, we are so overpopulated
But
with
how
rentals.
many people are really doing that? The percentage of rental agents, how many are closing 20 to 30 a month? Probably
Not a lot.
But
I mean, you
maybe-
really don't have to close that many.
Yeah, but maybe
a month.
1% of 1%. It's not something I would do because regardless, you're never going to make a considerable amount of money doing that.
I guess because I'm a rental queen, coming from property management, I've seen agents soar. Like, I have an University of Miami crowd. When I worked in Miami, one agent rented almost 100 units in one building, in just my building. And then just imagine where he brought the rest of his clientele to the other buildings. From us alone, he made 80 grand in 2 months. 2 months.
I mean, if I have one building, that's a difference. If I can list a building's worth of rentals, yeah, sure. But if I'm on the other end, not
See,
doing that.
that's a good mindset for you. You already know in your mind, I want to list. In his mind, I'm grabbing all these people coming from China, for example. This is where he came from, and they call him for everything, for relocating their the students. So every year for 2 months, man is banking probably $300,000 alone in rentals.
No, that's nice. Don't get me wrong. I just think there's a lot. I know there's more potential in residential and commercial.
Yeah.
There just is. But it's a longer, more difficult game. It's just a matter of how much you're willing to put in. How
Yeah, it
hard
depends
you're
on
willing
how
to
you
work.
market and how you stand for it. you
Yeah,
know.
it's not something. Even 300K is great, but it's not. But it's awesome.
For 2 months, 60 days.
What?
He makes that in 60 days.
What?
300,000
in 60 days?
in 60 days. I am not exaggerating.
Okay, well, he's an extreme rarity.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's not
extreme
that
rarity.
Yeah.
But I want to learn. I want to learn about the buy and sell side because I want to get into investment.
I mean, that is real
So that-
estate. So buying and selling is real estate.
It's the long game and where I want to go, the trajectory where I want to go. So through all the people that I've spoken to, that's where I want to be. You know, it just makes a lot more sense.
And that's good for you to have your direction. So that's the important part about the business. You can't just go in and being scattered. You have to understand what direction you're going in order for you to take the steps to get towards that. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to be lost. And you're just going to be like everywhere. And then you waste all this time and then you sit down and you're like, okay, I didn't get a check. Because you're everywhere. You're too scattered. But the good thing about that is knowing what direction you're going, you're able to make the steps to get towards that goal.
I think it's also sometimes it's minimizing. It can be minimizing the neighborhoods you work in. It could be minimizing the types of properties you deal with. And eventually, once you have more options, you can say, okay, well, if the property's $1 million or less than $1 million, I don't touch it. There are realtors that are in that position.
Yeah.
It's an 800K property. It's too small for them. They don't have the time for it.
They started with their farm area, and eventually they started to like expand out to different areas and cities and area codes and zip codes, which is awesome. But you know, like you said, it starts somewhere, and you start with your farm area. Like you're here in Aventura, so I specialized here in Aventura, and then if you decide to go North Miami, spill over, go west. Little by little, you just trickle your way over.
I try to stay somewhat in this vicinity. I'll definitely go out further, but I try to stay in Hollywood, Sunny Isles, Aventura, North Miami Beach. I'll do other things for sure, but I really want to get to know these areas well before I venture out too much into everywhere else. So I agree with
Know
you.
your area, know your market.
Why do you think so many realtors aren't able to figure out the business and do well? Because there's a very small percentage that are doing. A lot of them come in, stay for a few months, and leave. I have my feelings, but I'm curious to hear why you think there's so many people who have this issue.
They sell themselves a dream before going into the class, taking the exam. They set expectations before setting a goal. You cannot set expectations and not set the goal first. You have to make a plan, set your goal. Once you start working towards it, then you can go ahead and start creating your expectations of yourself. The thing is, everyone looks at the $1 million listing, TV shows, and, you know, hi, Frederick. Hey. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go sell that property. Frederick, sorry, you're not Frederick. Okay, nobody's Frederick. Just want to let you know that. But I think when they see stuff like that, they're thinking immediately, I'm going to go in this. I'm going to sell this properties. I'm going to make all this money. So when they go in for the wrong reasons. So I look at employment, I look at jobs, I look at whatever career as a relationship. You can't go in with the wrong reasons. You have to go in knowing that there's something you're going to be working towards. And that's what I think. They go in for the wrong reasons and then they fail. What is it? Plan to fail or fail to plan.
It's a very logical point. You mentioning the plan. You're mentioning having a plan, so and having the wrong expectations. So I saw something.
If you can beat that, you can win. This is called the emotional cycles of change. It's a pattern everyone goes through when you're trying to change anything in your life, anything at all. The first phase is called uninformed optimism. Oh, this is interesting. I could get into this. I could try this. I could see what this is about. I bet I could do that. The second phase is called informed pessimism. This is way harder than I thought it was. The third phase is called the valley of despair. I don't think I can do this. I think I'm going to quit. But I'm going to do it very quietly so no one around me knows that I actually quit. The fourth phase, for the few people who actually get past the valley of despair, is called informed optimism. This is hard. This is challenging. I can do it. And if you keep pushing through, then you reach the final phase, which is called success. 99% of people, uninformed optimism. Oh, I saw this ad, drop shipping business, real estate. I could do this shit. That guy's not smarter than me. I could do that. I buy the thing. I start doing it. There's a lot to learn. Shit, this is actually really hard. Valley of despair. I can't do this. And so here's where they up. They go, I can't do this. Oh, Ty Lopez ad, social media marketing agency. That's different. I could do that. Oh, this is way harder than I thought it was. I give up. Oh, shit. Shopify store. That's different. I could do that. This is way harder than I thought it was. I give up. And they do this forever. And you know what this is called? Shiny object syndrome. And 99% of people will ride this wave their whole life. Why? Because they couldn't beat this. If you can beat that, you can win. If you can't, you've already lost. It's the valley of despair. You have to master getting past the valley of despair. Every successful entrepreneur has met this dragon and slayed it. Everyone who is not successful has not. But the ability to beat this means you can succeed at basically any endeavor you pursue in your entire life. Every time I go into a new challenge or a new business, I know I'm going to meet it. It's going to happen. I'm going to question it. I'm going to doubt myself. I'm going to say it was easier doing the other thing I was doing. Every excuse in the book will come up. But I've learned to get past this, and so I'm able to do this. And some of you in this room who are already succeeding, you faced this, didn't you? You broke it. You went past it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You want to know why Valley of Despair is the best? It's a sign. It's a signal. It's an indicator that this is right around the corner. You just have to push through this. That's it. That's the whole game.
But basically, there are 4 or 5 levels of whenever you start something, any kind of venture, generally in an entrepreneurial atmosphere, you go into it in the beginning feeling very confident. Then you realize how difficult it is, and you say, I don't know.
Right.
Then there's a second part. Eventually, it's a cyclical thing where you go into it confidently, you realize how difficult it is, then you quit. Then you try another thing, and you continuously do the same thing. You're not willing to stick it out because you realize, wait a minute.
The hamster wheel
this
effect?
Is of sorts. And you keep rotating and doing another thing and another thing and another, and you don't realize it's you, not the thing. There are some things are really not cut out for you. You know, you're not cut out for, but aren't. You know, if I went and became a gardener, wouldn't be my thing. There are a lot of things out there that wouldn't be for me. So it's important to know yourself. But in real estate, and I know it's difficult. There are times where I doubt myself. I have to knock myself in the face, so to speak, and say, wait a minute, it's going to be difficult. This is a good field for me. I have to stick it out. Yeah. The deal didn't go my way. The deal was harder than I thought it would be. Okay, this is understood. The more you know what to expect, the more you're realistic with yourself, the more you can say, okay, this is a tough place to be in, especially as a newer, anytime you're new at something, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, even with the podcast, just hold your thought, because I know you're about to like.
I'm sorry, I thought you were my bad.
So with the podcast, even I have my doubts. Like I have, 355 subscribers. I know my subscribers like to the T. 355 subscribers. I have, about to have my 36th episode. I've only been doing it since August. There are times where I'm like, what am I doing with this podcast? I'm being honest. Like sometimes I say to myself, what am I doing with this thing? And then I knock myself back in the face and I'm like, you made 35 episodes, buddy. You've done a week. Every single week you've made one. Are you crazy? You're going to quit now? And I don't think of quitting per se, but sometimes I step back. I have this out-of-body experience, and I'm like, am I being ridiculous for doing this? And then I'm like, no. And I psych myself back in, and I'm like, dude, you put so much work into this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're seeing so much, you've been taking it so much more seriously than so many other podcasters. Just keep doing your thing, man. And thank God I get a lot of awesome support from friends and people I know, or even don't know. So that helps tremendously. But everyone has these doubts. Your brain's just trying to protect you. So it says, no, that's not a good idea. It's not safe.
Yeah. That's the devil energy, I call it.
Yep.
The dark. So the thing is about when you set yourself to do something, and this is something I even had to learn at an older part of my life, you have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. And once you learn who you are, you know what you want. The good news about this is that you're free once you open that mindset that this is me, this is what I like. Screw anything else, screw anybody else, what they think. Even what I think, because I ain't going to think, I'm going to do. So I'm an action type person. I don't like to talk. I just like to do things. I don't like people just tell me things. I just want them to do it. So, they always talk about this love language thing. I don't think it's just love language. I think it's just a language overall for life. But going back to you in the podcast, and even when you were doubting yourself in real estate, remember what I always tell you. I'm like, listen, don't worry about it. You're doing a good job. That's all you have to look at it. And that was something I always say to you. You're doing a great job. Don't worry about what anybody think. Like sitting here doing your podcast, this is what you like. You're all comfortable, got your flip-flops on, your little vapor thing going on. You got your camera set up. Who the hell could come up in your place and tell you anything else different? Sure. Nobody. You're free. And that's what's important.
I need that. I can say, though, very confidently that I rarely do. I rarely have any, crippling doubts about either real estate. But sometimes you get a little out of it. You have an off day. Everyone has it. We're like,
Yeah.
But at this current moment, I'm doing 2 things that are so fitting for me, like I told you. They give me a ton of freedom, but they also give me a push because I'm in charge of both of them. You know, especially the podcast where this is completely my baby. Like I created this out of nothing.
Shit, if you only have one follower, who gives a shit? Like, are you doing what you want? You know what I'm saying? I know I asked you earlier, what are you doing to market it? Are you marketing? And you was like, yeah. But, you know, you're doing what you want. You're not intentionally sending it out there just to pick up people to like you. You're doing this because this is what you want to do.
I mean, I'm definitely trying to spread it. I'm just not trying to throw down a ton of money just to put it on the internet.
No, it will though.
Doing it
will
organic,
spread.
trying to do it organically, have very interesting guests.
Me. I was nervous coming on because I'm not a camera person. I'm usually behind the scenes pushing other things.
You say that, but you're such a
think so?
bubbly cat.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
You not see your son jump in front of the camera? Do
I
you
know,
think he got it
he's
from
good
nowhere?
at this. He has a vlog.
Oh, there we
I'm
go.
Just
Here we
saying,
go.
And he builds Legos on. Go sit down.
Okay, well,
Interruption?
you can't see him anyway.
All right, go. Don't do that. Go sit down at the table. Bye. Ethan, go. Shoot.
Don't worry, you'll have your own real
Give me a
estate
kiss and
business.
then go. Kiss, go. Now go sit down. Go sit. Sorry, guys.
He gets it from. I mean, he definitely doesn't get it from you. That's for sure. I mean,
He gets that from me because Dad is very quiet.
sarcasm.
Dad is okay. Thanks. I'll take it. I'll accept it. Yeah. Yeah, he is me. He is me completely.
That's for sure. Yeah. So I mean, this is I think a difficulty for a lot of people, because some people, we all have our, like I said, we all have our brain protecting. It's the fight or flight thing. You know, you have the amygdala. I actually heard this from one of these coaching classes. I've heard this in the past, but someone went into it. You know who went into it? John Dietz went into this.
Good old John Dietz. What's up, John?
How you doing? So he was talking about the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. One is responsible. I think the amygdala is responsible for flight. I'm pretty sure. I'll verify. But our brain, in a difficult situation, is trying to keep us safe. But what it's doing is making it worse for us, because we know that on the other side of this danger, so to speak, is potential bliss.
Exactly.
Much more so than some secure thing. And security is fine if you want to, have some people, for them, a regular job is better for them.
You know what that's called, right? There's two words: fear, ego. You're fearing it, and your ego is keeping you from the fear. So it's like you see that line that God is like saying, cross that line, girl. Cross it. And I'm like, no, I'm scared. If I cross the line, what's going to happen? The unknown. And we're always afraid of the unknown because we're so conditioned to knowing.
Right.
Step aggressively towards your fear. And that step towards your fear is the step into bravery. Because we're scared of what we don't know. And there is only one way to learn and to know, and that is to confront that fear. You have to step, you have to go. And this simple action, this simple attitude, it answers so many questions. So many questions. How do you get to the gym every day? You step. You go. How do you change your diet? You step. You go. How do you overcome fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of fear itself? You step. And how do you face the fear of the unknown? You step. Don't wait anymore. Don't think anymore. Don't plan anymore. Don't contemplate anymore. Don't make any more excuses or justifications. Don't rationalize anything else. No, and no. Instead, be aggressive. Take action now. And what is the first action that you need to take? What's the first step you need to take? The first step you need to take is just that. Step.
So it's just like when you take the chance and you cross that line, that's when things start to gravitate towards you. Because once you fear it, just think about it. Your fear will reflect in the fear on the other side. So it will push back from you. But when you step over that line, then it will come to you. It will gravitate to you. So the more you fear yourself, why don't you think someone else won't fear you?
It's an interesting way to look at it. When you say fear you, as not, what do you mean by fear?
Not fear, like fear to come towards me.
Okay.
So it's almost like your mirror, okay? So you're looking on the other side at the other person, which is you, and you're like, I'm scared to even come to you. And then you are saying, I'm scared to come to you.
This is smoothly going into the law of attraction. I know you're all about that.
I'm all about that.
I love
love
that. Yeah, the
and
law,
peace.
the law.
Energy. Don't come near me if you're not right.
You gotta have a meditation session.
Only high
right now.
vibes up in here. Only high vibes.
That's it.
So that's how I look at it. That's something I'm practicing for myself. So I'm not perfect at all. Like, it's something I'm actually learning, because I'm a go-getter type girl. But there's a lot that I know I could have definitely accomplished that fear held me back from. Because sometimes I'm scared. I have kids. You have bills to pay, and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to hold on to this. And that's ego for not wanting to fail, and it's also fear of the unknown.
You know what's tough? You know what's a tough thing is? A tough thing is if you're doing pretty well at something, but you know it's not for you, and people know, oh, he's in a good place, but they don't know the depth of it, because sometimes you don't want to discuss it.
Yeah.
Because you want everyone to see, oh, everything's great.
Yeah.
But on the inside, you realize that they're not responsible for your happiness. They, in reality, don't care as much as you think they do.
Exactly.
As if anything, they don't really give two shits.
They don't.
Okay.
They only care about themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not going to say that everyone's like that, but for the most part, people, we're interested in their own best interest, in their own self.
Yeah.
So when you're afraid of outside perception and it's crippling you because you're doing something you're not happy with, you're destroying yourself.
Yeah.
And to go and venture out into something new where you have no idea whether it's going to go well or not, that's scary to do. Most people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, I think a very small percentage of humans can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to act like, oh, I'm not. I do think I have that, though. I do. It just is developed over time, and it works by just constantly trying again and again and challenging yourself.
Always challenge yourself. And Lee always tell us, well, it's the bold law that we use at Keller Williams is be uncomfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you charge after things that's the unknown, that's what makes you a person. Make you, how can I put this? You grow. Because if you stay in that one bubble that where's the growth in that?
Nowhere.
You just keep going in circles. So you just keep going, and you have to grow. I mean, life is about growth. It's not about just staying still. And we were talking about Facebook earlier. Like, I was like, I'll post a naked picture on Facebook. But at one point, I always cared about what people thought, Okay. Oh, my God, if I post this on Facebook, no one's going to call me to buy a house from me and have me list their house for them. You have to be poised. You got to be professional. You got to cross your legs and have your hair done. And me, I don't care now. I'm like, whatever. If you're going to be with me, you're going to be with me. If you're not, you're not. And the other thing I realized, people are afraid of these, and it's something, and it's proven because I've actually tested this. People are afraid of love and success. And what I realized, love comes from within, because some people don't even have the love for themselves to be successful. So that's like two things that kind of clash with each other, and it causes people downfall. So that's another thing. I love myself enough to know, okay, if I'm out there being myself, success comes to me. I don't have to look for it. It'll come to me. Mm-hmm. So it was something I had to learn. I always cared about what people thought in the professional world, because I just wanted to make sure I was perfect, to make sure that I get the business. But now I get the business just being my damn self.
A lot of the time you do. A lot of the time it's when you have a sense of individuality. I see realtors on Instagram, some big realtors, and they completely, I love what they do. So there's this one guy who, hopefully have him on my podcast. I just came across his page recently. This young dude, Jonathan Vega. and he's young, like Spanish American dude, and he's a funny kid. I don't know how old he is, probably mid-20s, my age or whatever, and seems like he's doing very well. Has a lot of multi-million-dollar listings, and on both ends, buyer and seller. You tell he's very professional. He seems like a very likable dude, and he makes very comedic videos. Like, he was in this very nice house, and there was a nice shower, like a really nice shower. So he took the handheld, like the handheld thing, and it looks like a microphone, and he started like singing on it. It's awesome.
I know.
There's nothing. No client's gonna say, "Oh, he took the thing in the shower and he sang on it. I'm never gonna hire him." They're like, "That's awesome."
He made it personal.
He's not a robot. He's not like, "I couldn't sell your home within 25 days." He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sell your house." Like, it was great.
I mean, that's the way to do it. Like, sometimes I look at some people that I personally know, and they're like on their page, like, I'm, whatever, and like, I'm great. And then I see them bumping, grinding at the club the next day, and swinging and going to strip clubs or do whatever they want. I'm like, don't act like you're perfect, boo. Just go ahead and be yourself. Who cares? So, it's something I had to learn, and I do have morals, just to let y'all know. I have morals.
Right. Sure.
But at the same time, I'm going to be myself. I have a God-fearing grandmother who raised me, and she raised me with a skirt down to my ankle. I was not allowed to wear pants until I was like 12, and my aunt had to beg her to make me wear pants. So I grew up that way, and it's kind of like, okay, I need to step out of the zone and become myself. And it took a while.
Cheers to grandmothers, though.
My grandmother, I love her. Miss you, mama.
Yeah, I miss my grandmother.
She raised me well. She did. I can't even. She was like the Bible to me. Like, no one can replace God to me, but she was like the next best thing. So.
You really get into a little boxing match with my microphone.
Yeah, it's kind of,
He's been, the microphone's been
testing 1, 2, 3. So yeah,
That's the story.
So Rafi, what made you get into real estate?
I was doing sales prior, and when COVID hit, I wanted to try something different. It just wasn't something that I was really enjoying. I didn't see long-term growth in it. So I decided to, I spoke about real estate with a close friend of mine in Brooklyn, Itamar. Shout out to you, Itamar. And he told me when he was doing it, he's been doing it a little long. He must be doing it for about 3 years now, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. And he was saying, dude, I think you'd be great in real estate. And it stuck in my mind, but I just kind of went and did that other thing. And loans, I was working with loans. And then when COVID hit and everything kind of dissolved, I said, I'm not enjoying this. I need to be out. I need to meet people. I need to interact.
Yep.
And I knew I didn't want to do a 9 to 5. So I said, what is something that I can see myself liking? I need to be challenged. It needs to be something where there's no ceiling, there's no set salary, there's freedom to, if I need to go to a dentist appointment or I need to fly somewhere suddenly, I don't have to check in with a boss. I can just go and do what I got to do.
Exactly.
But I know that I'm self-motivated and I'll hold myself accountable. So I said, real estate sounds like something I could do. It sounds like a great idea. So right when COVID hit, maybe 2 months, not even, no, I'm trying to think, maybe a month after, I just started studying for the exam. Failed by 2 points the first time. Took it again. Definitely aced it. Yeah, I was dealing with some things, so,
Don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's all good.
I took it more than twice.
Oh, wow. Now, a lot of people have. So then I definitely, the next time around, I didn't get the score because this pass fail, but I knew I must have gotten in the 90s. Quite frankly, I don't think it's a very hard test. I know some people that have failed it like so many times, though. It's crazy. But if you really buckle down and study, it's not too difficult. So once I got that, I went to a few companies. Keller Williams seemed like he's like, Mom, when can we get out of here?
I want to go to Target.
He wants to go to Target. We're almost done, man. So so once I went to Keller Williams in Aventura, I said, okay, it's near me. I've heard of the company. It's a very reputable company. Everyone seems really professional, but open and laid back and accepting. I said, okay. I met you, and you asked me for a hug right when I met you. I was like, okay, this is great. And Lee was cool, and I met Josh Benitez. He was really cool. And everybody was just so welcoming. So I said, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
I'm game for this.
It's a great office.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here for about 7 years. And I live in Fort Lauderdale, and I went to that office first. And there's nothing wrong with Fort Lauderdale, but it was when I went to Aventura, it was just so much more open. Mm-hmm. And when I walked in, I just felt welcome. He's good. Yeah. So. Thank you.
He's a good dude. Mm-hmm. So no, you were saying you. Yeah,
so that's why I joined that office, and I commuted from Fort Lauderdale to Aventura. Mm-hmm. And the good news about real estate, your hours is flexible, and like you said, you have to be disciplined, whether you're in the office or not. Oh, that's a sign. Discipline. I need that. So that was an omen, right? Like Shika, practice what you preach. So
That's great.
That was
it's good that you look. One thing I always respect that I really like that you always look for signs. You're always looking for spiritual signs from the universe that you're supposed to or not supposed to do something. I think I definitely took that.
Yeah. So when I leave here today, I'm gonna have to communicate with the universe. I'm like, thank you for calling me. So that was a call out, and I agree. I agree with you, universe. My bad. But it's kind of one of those things that you do fall sometimes because you have that flexibility, and sometimes you lay in bed that day, you're like, do I feel like working today? You have that, but you can't meet goals laying in that bed. Well, you can. You gotta be on the phone though. Yeah. You could be in the bed, but you better be on that phone making some cold calls.
Yeah, nobody.
Lately, what I started to do, because I'm making pre-foreclosure calls right now, I've gotten some good leads, some divorce situations, not that great. But
I wonder what's going to happen when I run. I'm bound to run into one of those eventually.
Oh, I'm dealing with the wife and the husband. They both moved on. The wife rented out the house, going to let it fall into foreclosure. She just wants to collect the rent, and she's pocketing the rent. And I'm like, let's just sell it, And she's like, no, I'm going to think about it. I put it with an attorney. I was like, how much are you spending monthly with this attorney? She's like, $700. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Let's just sell it and save your credit. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? And it's because they have this love-hate relationship between the two. They're not even divorced yet.
There's still love there?
I feel like there's love, because when you hate someone, it's because there's love. You can't hate without even a single notion of love.
You think that?
I think that.
I mean, maybe in the from a relationship standpoint, but if we're talking about like human beings, like groups hating other groups, I don't know.
No, that's hate.
Yeah. That's
I'm talking about the situation.
Okay, a relationship. Yeah, well, there was love at some point. They got married.
Yeah, I think where hate comes is always because love was there before, and there's some still, some part of it.
Probably.
Because I think hate derived from love.
It's weird.
It's crazy.
Well, yeah, because there was love initially, so now it's like it's the hatred of.
I hate you. I'm gonna just run my credit because I hate you, and I'm like, girl, just sell me the house. Let me get it. Let me save your credit. I'm gonna save you.
You show up in a cape to the house.
Yeah, I know. Super realtor. Because I'm Wonder Woman. Everything I have is Wonder Woman. But real estate, like even for me, when I started, I was in property management. I started property management at 19. And I got interested in real estate because being a property manager, a lot of realtors would bring us clients to rent when I worked in Brickell. And I'm like, what, we pay them? We only get paid $100 per lease, and they get $2,000. And I'm like, damn. So I was like, I could do this part-time on the side and then be okay. So my cousin, he was going for his mortgage license, and then I was like, why don't you get your real estate license instead? So in the beginning, I started just referring my customers to him because I was working full-time in property management. I was a leasing agent at the time. And so along the years of 24 years into property management, I was a realtor part-time, worked on referral basis only. There was sometimes I jumped in and out full-time and sold new construction and went full-time and went back. For some reason, they always pull me back into property management. I get a phone call, Shika, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'm coming.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
So, and that's the conditioned thought, paychecks, Like, you know, you're going to get a consistent paycheck, along with commissions. So I always get drawn back, but that's how I started. It was 2004. I did take that test 3 times. And the first 2 times, I didn't really study, to be honest with you. I didn't study at all. I just thought I knew everything because I was in the industry. The class test, I took it and I aced it, so I thought I knew everything. So that's the thing, my ego took over. That's that ego right there. I took the test the first time. I didn't pass. The second time, I waited till the last minute to take it. Oh my God. Wait till the last minute to take it, and I didn't study. But you lose that money. So I was like, I might as well just go take the test and just fail it. If I fail it or pass, at least I took a chance. And then the third time, I buckled down. I was like, I'm studying. I bought, at the time they had the CD cram. I listened to it every single day, all day. And I studied. And then when I took that test, I swear it was like a robot, just transferring all the information I retained from the CD on the test. And I got in, and I was the first one out. And then she said, you passed. And I'm like, thank goodness, because I was not going to take this again. But that's where I started.
You really don't think you would have taken it again?
I would have.
Yeah.
I would have. But I wanted to make sure I ain't giving them another $55. That's a lot.
It's crazy that there are people who fail probably a bunch of times and they don't even bother after. They just quit and never even become realtors. And it's not like we're taking an MCAT here. We're not trying to get into medical school.
I know.
This isn't, not to downgrade real estate, but like, this is not medical school. The test is not that difficult.
It was all or nothing. That was it. I was like, you're gonna study. Don't waste this time, money, energy, and not complete this. You know. So I was like, at the time I was married, and I said, listen, I'm gonna study. Don't bother me, okay? And then that was it. And that's where it started, 2004.
I was a little man at that point.
So don't be calling me out on my age right now. I'm still cute.
Well, you're 31. It's not. It's only, you got 4 years on me.
44, magic numbers. 44.
No, we don't need to know lies on the Soothing Semantics podcast. No need for that.
So that's real estate for me. I've worked mostly on referrals though, but the industry right now, what you think about it?
Busy. It's great. It's just a matter of adapting. You have to really know how to adapt because there are so few homes on the market, especially with a lot of my clients that I have, you know, from New York. I'm Jewish, so I get a lot of friends or family friends that are Jews from the Northeast that I grew up with or know of. So they have particular areas or things that they want, and it's very difficult because they have a certain price range, a certain thing that they want, and there's just so few homes available.
They're serious when I worked at the the Jewish community. They're serious about their budget too. They're like, I want this 800. I want next to this temple. I want to be right here in this community.
Specific.
I want to walk here, and I need to. They're serious. Like
they're very specific. I'm so grateful for the business, and I want to do everything I can to make them happy and find them their dream home, whether it's their dream home or just something they're going to have for the first few years. Starter home. I want them to be ecstatic about what they're buying. So it's just tough in this market. But then you have to know how to adapt. So what I'm trying to find is off-market properties. Those properties that not everyone's grabbing at. So I can hopefully present them to my buyer, and they're going to say, "Wow, man, that's awesome! You went out of your way to find these properties that aren't on market that everyone's just grabbing at." So instead of complaining that, oh, hey, there aren't that many homes. A, I have business. I have people that are trusting me to do work with them.
Exactly.
B, I have to figure out how to make this happen.
Yeah.
I don't want them going.
Sell me your house.
Yeah, right. I personally do not want to do.
And the good thing about it, you're not going as a false person. You're going in and saying, I actually have a buyer. I have someone. I really do.
Yep.
And that's what I live by in real estate too. We have our scripts that we use, and we love them because they really help us and guide us along, especially to overcome objections. The thing is, though, you have to plug in yourself into those scripts as well, so people can look at you. And I'm a true believer on being authentic out there. If I'm cold calling, and I'm not gonna say I have tons and tons of buyers that want your house, I'm not gonna make that story up. I'm gonna say, listen, because they'll say, well, do you have a buyer? And I'm like, I don't, but I can.
I say the same thing. No, I do. I say the same thing. If they ask if I have buyers, I say, if I do, I tell them I do. If I don't, I tell them I don't.
Yeah, like, do you want me to
you
lie
run
to you?
yourself
You want me
into
to
the ground that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can get the appointment by BSing them.
Yeah.
But if you don't have buyers, the buyer will get back to me in 2 weeks. They're in Honolulu. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, dude? Okay, great, you got the appointment, but now what? Like,
Yeah.
tell them from the get-go. Say, I don't have buyers. Let's meet, get to know each other, get better acquainted. Let me see the property, take some notes, get an idea of what's going on. So when I do have buyers, I can I can present them with all this information.
Exactly. I'm not gonna bullshit, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I can put your property and market it the proper way and make sure you get the value for your home. And that's straight up the only way to go. Because, by the time you make that phone call, 40 other agents probably made that call already. And they're like, you're the 40, whatever. So I had one that said that. And I'm like, well, I should be the president then. If I'm number 46.
Though, it's funny because I get a lot of... No, I do. I get a nice amount of compliments from buyers from sellers that I speak to. They'll say either that I'm more articulate than a lot of the people who call them, or they'll say that I'm not as salesy. They'll say, like, I like that you are having a normal conversation, that you're not trying to just
not
shove
scriptive.
sales down their throat. I'm just,
Yeah.
I say, hey, okay, no worries. You're not ready to sell right now. No worries. When do you think you'd be more interested? Okay, 3 months. Okay, we'll be in touch. Okay, great. Thank you for your time. I'll send you a text. Save my number. Okay, wonderful. I call them once a week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Check on them.
If it's a holiday, if they're Muslim, I'll send them a Ramadan Kareem. If they're Jewish, I'll send them a Shabbat Shalom every weekend. If they're Christian, Happy Easter, things of that nature.
I'm trying to see what I'll send Jamaicans, because that's why.
You gotta let me know, because I don't know any.
Some Aki selfish.
So just send them. I'll just send them a blunt, honestly.
Just send them an A-mine.
I'll just send them a blunt and a bongo.
Yeah. A whole blunt card.
I mean, I make that joke about Jamaicans, but might as well send a blunt to half of the population.
And so while you're saying this, now I'm thinking to my head, what can I say? I'll send you some bun and cheese.
Some butter and cheese?
Bun and cheese. Bun.
bun.
The Easter bun.
Okay.
Yeah, you ever seen them? They have them in certain Publix, not all Publix. Like, they only stock them in certain Publix when they know that the neighborhood carries some type of ethnicity.
Smart that they do
So it's
that.
like a brown, it's like a sugar bun with the raisin in it, those? And they have this cheese in a can, and it's called an Easter bun
Sounds pretty good.
during Easter time. But
For sure. I hope we can hear that in the thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, we covered a lot of ground. What do you think?
I
covered
think
a lot
we
of ground.
did. And I like the fact that we're just random and just doing whatever we want.
It's great. We talked about we made a lot of very good points, I think. And yeah, it was a great episode.
I think so too.
All right. Shika, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I think
Had a
we
really
should do
nice
this like
time.
once a month.
Right?
Like just play around and just
I think
do whatever we want.
I think they would love it. It was a
I think
great
so
time.
too. Let's do what we want.
All right. This has been another episode of Soothing Semantics. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, share with your friends, your family, your dog, the priest, the pope, the rabbi, the imam, and I look forward to having you guys
On the next episode.
on the damn straight. You want to come in and
share,
come in also, subscribe,
and
tell everybody.
subscribe.
Tell everybody.
How do you like and subscribe to
You got to come on the other side.
Come
They
right
can't see
here.
you.
Come do it. Say like, share, and subscribe.
You got to come behind the cameras. They're all.
That part not from me.
Do it. Don't. If you're not going to do it for me, guys, do it for Ethan. Who am I?